Welcome to MES e-learning channel. In our last sessions, we discussed about what is craft and the history and development of craft. Now, in this session, we are going to understand how we are going to use craft as a pedagogy. As we discussed before, craft is skillfully making something useful, and pedagogy is the way we transact our curriculum into our students. So now we are going to understand the combination of both. How are we going to use craft as a pedagogy in our class? Now, incorporating craft into our curriculum is a method wherein we are trying to include every kind of learners into our session. Now, as we are all aware about individual differences between us, now there is a difference in not only the way we learn, but also in the way we express what we have learned. Supposingly we have a visually oriented learner in the class. That person would be more able to understand the content through a painting or a drawing. But if you have a tactile learner in the class, the person will be more comfortable understanding a concept when he is given something to do with, for example, a clay or a furniture or a paper. So as a teacher, we need to include all these kinds of students, all these kinds of diverse learners into our session. So let us see how are we going to do that. Now, craft to include culture and tradition into our classrooms. It can be a good means to include different kind of culture and traditional practices into our educational process. For example, in a classroom, if the curriculum is including textile making or designing a textile in different ways as a part to transact the curriculum, then the children are not only learning about how to do that activity, but they are also able to understand and instill in themselves the different type of culture or tradition of that particular craft that they are learning. It also gives a validation of cultural identity to the underrepresented or marginalized communities as their craft, if and when their craft is being practiced in the class. Now, craft to promote social skills of the students. Now, whenever a craft activity is being conducted, it is not an individual activity, it is a group activity most of the times. So, in the group what happens, the participants of the group, they have to communicate to each other in order to get the proper output of the craft activity being assigned. This is useful for those students who are not able to communicate or who are isolated in the class or excluded students in the class. All the classrooms have this kind of students. But this kind of craft activity gives them a chance to bring up their opinion and speak, thereby improving their communication skill and also bringing in them a teamwork, the way they work, when they work in the team spirit or the way of working in the team or including all the members in the team, it is improved. And also while working to bring a proper output, to bring in the best output, they are continuously thinking. So their critical thinking and problem solving ability also improves. As I said before, the individual difference within the students in the class, because of that, the way they express their learning is also different. So maybe some students are able to express their learning orally, but some of them are not able to express that verbally. So for those kind of students, craft is a good medium for expressing whatever they have understood. Maybe the student who is in a science class is a better performer when a project is assigned to him, or when he is asked to sketch about something. Not necessarily he has to do it in a paper and pen kind of a format. So for these situations, craft is a good way to include all different kind of diverse learners in the classroom. Now, craft to understand real-world problems and solutions. This is a good way of inclusiveness, wherein when the students are given real-world situations and challenges, they are able to think about doing a particular craft in a better manner. Supposingly, in a classroom, sustainable design is what is being done in a particular classroom. The students will think about doing the project or doing that activity in an environment-friendly manner, that rather than doing it without considering environment into their consideration. So if when they are given real life situations, they are better aware of their social responsibility, and it also develops their critical thinking and problem solving ability. Craft for community engagement. Now, what does this mean? It supposingly in a class, a basket weaving activity has to be taught. So, instead of bringing someone who has learned basket learning activity from a modern session, it is always advisable or it is always preferred to either take the students as a fieldwork to that place where actually local communities are doing this, or to bring a person from that community into the classroom, so that you are bringing in community engagement in the class, and also the students develop appreciation for that community who is practicing this kind of craft activity for years. Now, when we know different ways of bringing in craft into our classroom, let's work towards including all those who are different from us. Not all of them learn in the same way as we do, or as majority of people do. So, let us include all of those students who learn differently from us and give a space for them to learn and express. Because strength lies in accepting the differences, not in finding the similarities. Thank you for listening.